Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy United People's TV. It's Thursday. Football is nearly back. Yeah, I know we got to wait until Monday. But we're going to have the preview for the Everton game out on Saturday, seeing as it is a Monday kickoff. Today, we're going to run through the latest United news. We're going to speak about a little, a special chat about the academy. Stephen Torpey, the latest person on Inside Carrington. Of course, Stephen Torpey, United's new academy director. Going to have a conversation about the academy. Ruben Amorim's sort of breakdown of what he sees as important for an academy player to have. Also speaking about the support from Ratcliffe and, of course, the football and United moving forward. Then we'll have a conversation about transfers. Fabrizio on United's, by the sounds of it, on the look for more attackers. And you can let me know what you think in the chat. All right? As always, please do get your comments and your questions in. I'll try and engage with as many of you as I possibly can through the show. And I'll try and make it less boring than yesterday. Some comments just stick in my head. Let's say hello to everybody. Good morning to you, Josh and Steph and Carl and Maddie too. We've got we've got Steve Denham, we've got Shmee, we've got General 786, we've got Mr. Wood, Jason James, we've got Saeed, and some non-members as well. We've got Francis, we've got Mickey, we've got Zhao, we've got Molly Mate, and we've got Rofi. How's everyone doing? It's cold. It's dropped 10 degrees in his last night. This is us for the next, what? November, December, January, February. 5 months? We've got about 5 months of this. The world is so much better when it's sunny. Anyone else think that? There's certain things I enjoy about winter. The fact that you could just stay indoors. Wearing bigger clothes, different sorts of meals. Yeah, I understand that. Turn a fire on if you so happen to have a fire. But man, just life in general is just a lot better. Right? A lot better. MC, you're too susceptible to winding up, Sam. Probably attracts it more too. No, it's just that there's certain comments that just, I think it's how articulate some comments are. It's like, you've really written that. And it just makes me laugh. Honestly, it just makes me laugh a lot of the times. Winter blues is a real thing. It is indeed. Whoa. Jeez. Man. I'm telling you what, Andre, that is incredible coming in here and dropping in 50. And I'm telling you what, Andre, this is going to be the most generous month that has ever existed coming up now, December, on United People's TV. I'm really excited to give a lot more back to all of you. You know, I've been saying it for a long time, but we're now actually working on plans in the background. You can't see them down there because they're just off camera, but they're all the posters. I've already gone through, taken all the photos of them and all the framed ones. And there's going to be big giveaways on top. We're just getting it all organised. But what a start to the show. So make sure you lock in for December if you're not already locked in. But Andre, dude, where are you watching from, man? That's incredible. I can't wait to do live shows and meet all of you guys and girls. I really can't. Right, let's get on with today's show. I thought this was a nice one to start it with. Of course, Rangnick went back into management to manage the Austrian national team. Wasn't he getting... What job was it? Was it the Leverkusen job? I think it was, that he was getting linked with before Ten Hag actually took it. Andre, watching from Dubai. South African, though. Dude, let's go and have a braai. Man, barbecue. But you can barbecue in the winter, though. Barbecue is definitely an all-year-round sport. Rangnick has guided Austria to the first World Cup since 1998, which is a big achievement. Is that because the World Cup has expanded to 48 teams? Maybe that's why Scotland. Although, did Scotland qualify top of their group? I think they did. Anyway, congratulations to Ralf Rangnick. Congratulations to Austria. I think that's a pretty cool achievement. I'm still annoyed. Do I think United will recover? United will recover. Of course they will. But I'm still annoyed that he was brought in and was clearly so capable for a job that he never had. I think that there was absolutely no point bringing Rangnick in and suffering the pain that we did in that second half of the season when he came in. Did he replace Solskjaer? Was it Solskjaer at the game and then Rangnick came in on an interim basis until the end of the season. Is that what happened? Was it Carrick for a few games first? Am I making all this up? I'm trying to remember. I think that's what happened. But he should have been a sporting director rather than a manager. Right man, wrong job. That's the way that I look at him still. Anyway, let's move on. I see you, Rio. Apparently that was. It's really hard to remember. I guarantee, right, if you did like a quiz and you were asked to name all 20 managers of Premier League clubs who started last season, it will be such a hard quiz to do. I couldn't do it. Anyway, Rio, I see you. Shared the graphic that the social lads made, put it on his Instagram account. I'd love to do that. That strikes me as a video that we can definitely do in the future. A video on that defensive record. Just how impressive and incredible it was. That we went, 1,300 minutes without conceding one goal in the Premier League? That's mad. Anyway, Rio shared it on his Instagram account. Edwin van der Sar commented on it as well. Man. I really do feel sorry for United fans these days that didn't get to enjoy, the certain age of United fans that just didn't get to enjoy what happened in the 90s to 2000s. Yeah. Not so much the 2010s, although we had a couple. So, yeah. Was it 2 we got in 2010? Or was that 1? We had 2013. 2012 was City. Was 2011 us? Or was that Chelsea? I don't actually remember. Either way, if I hadn't seen such spoils, then random, you want to talk about nostalgic. I just wanted to ask people's opinions. Or not opinions. What's your memories of Marouane Fellaini? My memory of Fellaini was he came up with a ton of big goals for United in certain moments. I think my scorn towards Fellaini ended up coming when Mourinho started to play Fellaini. He started to play him every single bloody week in central midfield. And it's like, he wasn't a central midfielder. He never was a central midfielder. I suppose a little bit like McTominay, really. But when you played him further forward and towards the opposition's goal, Fellaini came up clutch quite a lot. Afro Man. Or about when Van Gaal did the interview after the game when Fellaini was getting his hair pulled. Something about sadomasochism. Moyes' favourite pet. Well, the only reason, remember when we signed him? Because we couldn't sign Fabregas and his release clause expired like 2 weeks before we signed him. So then we ended up paying more. That was a bad one. McTominay before McTominay. That's a fair one. Anyway. Got quite fun. I could easily do, a little mini doc on Fellaini. He's kind of like one of those. What players would you put in that category? I'm not going to. It's not like a cult hero. Well, like just a curiosity, right, as a question. What players would you put in that category of like cult heroes at United? Would you put Park Ji-sung in there, for example? Who else goes in there? Cult hero category. Because like the players that aren't necessarily like the top level players, but they're just players that mean like you could put Diego Forlan in there for United if you wanted to, which you probably would, mainly because of his goals at Anfield. Mata? Would you put that in cult hero? No, he was just a class player. Zlatan, I think you could have a conversation about. Hernandez? Unsung heroes? That might, I don't know whether that might be a better way to describe it. You should do where they are now, mini docs. when I can tell you the plans that we've got for the production side of United People's TV, I promise you the scale is going upwards. It's just there's a lot going on that I just can't say yet. And I'm not being that, he's just saying that to lure us in. I promise you, there's a lot going on. Fletcher Anderson could be one. I think Anderson's one, for sure. We've got that written down. I don't think Matter is O'Shea. We've got that down as well. Wes Brown, we've got him down. Right, you, sir, can have a little break until tomorrow because you've been putting in the same comment and hoping for a nibble. So, nibble with a block. See ya. Herrera? Yeah, Herrera, I suppose. Herrera you could do. Carrick is a perfect one. I think Carrick's, I wouldn't put like cult heroes. I'd put unsung heroes. Too many to mention. I suppose you could do that. That's kind of the point. That's why we really want to start exploring these and doing them justice with little mini docs. Either way, Fellaini, I think, is one of them. So we'll definitely do one on that. Darren Gibson missed the score from outside the box. Was it Wolfsburg? I think it was was it Schalke? When United had Schalke in the semi-final of the Champions League. And I swear he rested players, and Darren Gibson banged in one at Old Trafford. Might have just made that up. I swear he banged in one from outside the box. Man United, Schalke, and was Raul playing for Schalke? Bloody hell, if I remember that. Let's have a look. Come on. 4th of May, 2011. Semi-final, second leg, United beating Schalke 4-1 at Old Trafford and Darren Gibson scores. Was Raul playing? Raul was playing up front for Schalke. Come on. Who was our starting 11 in that game? So look. Look at that back five. John O'Shea, Raphael, Smalling and Evans. Midfield trio, Gibson, Scholes and Anderson. The front three of Valencia, Berbatov and Nani. Who was on the bench? Kuszczak, Evra, Owen, Giggs, Hernandez. Man, Giggs. Again, I'm definitely want to do some stuff on Giggs. Josh, you're saying you're at that game. Fun fact. Jemba. That's a cool one to do. So, I mean, you can go really deep on these sorts of stuff. Anyway, should we get back into the news? A little bit of a distraction there, but I enjoyed that. So, Ruben Amorim's done an interview, but bombshell. Football's back this weekend, and football now will be back every single week until March, I think, the next international break. It's kind of what happens. You have September, October, and November, and everything's so broken up, and the momentum's kind of high. But then, boom, it goes from December, and then you crank it up. If United were playing European football, it will be going even more nuts. I think in the seasons where we have European football, December, typically we have 9, maybe 10 games. I think so. Either way, we've got 6 in December. Ruben Amorim has been speaking. Okay. Now, I don't really think there's, and I don't mean this in a horrible way, but I don't really think there's much point me pulling up the part of the interview where Ruben Amorim's speaking about the formation. The formation's not the problem. The system this and the system that. A little bit of confidence, a little bit. It kind of feels like we've had those conversations already. I don't particularly think we need to have those conversations again. I thought this part was interesting, though, okay? And this is Ruben Amorim speaking about, I suppose, the support that he's been given by the club and Jim Ratcliffe. Let's have a little listen to this clip from Stan Sports out in Australia.
I'm not worried if I'm going to lose my job. It's always really important, but it's more important for the fans to understand that we have a clear path and we are going to do everything. And we are going, no matter what, we are going to continue that path. Because for me, I have to be really honest, it doesn't change much. I'm not worried if I'm going to lose my job. I always had that feeling. So it's a good thing to hear, but will not change nothing in the way I behave, the options that I will have. I know clearly what path I have to go. But if you remember when Jim gave that interview, that settled down a lot around the club. The noise around the club changed completely. So that was really important for that team. And if it's really important for the team, it's really important for me. That words had a huge impact, not the way I do things, but the way people see what we are doing. So it was massive for us.
Now, I remember speaking about this at the time, and we did a video on it saying like I suppose it was quite brave. Is that right? Brave's probably the wrong word. But Jim Ratcliffe coming out and saying, look, Amorim's a good guy. I see Amorim being here for 3 years. We're going to give Amorim 3 years. And at the time, there was a lot of people who were, I suppose, angry at that, hearing the owner come out and say that. But what it did do, and I remember us having conversations about this, I was like, that will kind of nip those conversations in the bud. It will end them because there's no point speculating now because the owner's come out and said, well, he's going to have 3 years. So it did kind of kill those conversations. What game? Does anybody remember what game that interview was before? I can't off the top of my head. Mo, you're saying I still remember Sam was one of the people who'd lost faith in Amorim. I told you why I'd lost faith. I said I'd lost faith in Ruben Amorim's ability to create momentum in this team. Because going into after that Brentford game and going into the Sunderland game, it showed no signs of like tweaking anything. And then against Sunderland, we played significantly more direct. There was a tweak, and it worked. We followed that up with a system, and it worked. Then at Liverpool, it worked. Like the following 3 games, there were tweaks that I hadn't seen before. So he surprised me in a pleasant way. Quite a few of you are saying it was before the Sunderland game, after Brentford. It worked. It probably made Amorim's job easier in the dressing room. There's no speculation, whether vocalised or not, among the players. Well, coach is going to be here. Like you can be annoyed about it if you want, but he's not going anywhere. It certainly had an impact. Yeah, Senny coming in made a big difference. He's played 6 games since becoming United's #1 goalkeeper, 5 for club and 1 for country, and he's won all 6 of them. Well, no, he's undefeated in all 6 of them. Let's see if he can continue that with Everton. Now, the next thing I want to speak to, now Imran, you're saying if you never lost faith, that's fair. I did. I explained it. I don't have to justify why I lost faith. I didn't do it from a pour fuel on the fire and try and burn it from the inside out sort of thing. But after Brentford, I looked at it and I didn't see where the tweaks and the changes were coming from. And then the tweaks and the changes came. And they weren't massive. They weren't massive at all. But they worked. And then against Brighton was probably my favourite game so far. Because if you look at the Sunderland game and the Liverpool game, it feels like, and we spoke about this in the pod, by the way. We recorded the latest pod. That went out this morning. I forgot about that. Damn it. So we had a week off from the pod. If you want to check it out, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple. And part of the conversation and a point that Nick raised, which I think was really good, is this game against Everton feels like a game where Manchester United will set up to think about United before we think about Everton, which might be a bit of a weird thing to say. But in that Sunderland game, we went in with an approach, I think, to expose weaknesses of Sunderland, and it worked. We went a little bit more direct. We went heavy down the right-hand side, and they couldn't really cope with either of them. And it was kind of easy. We won that game in second gear. Liverpool, we had a specific game plan. Kick it long, let them win the first headers, but go for the second headers. They didn't see it coming. We scored within the first minute. It allowed us to have some control. But in both of those games, we set up to expose weaknesses of the opposition. Against Brighton, I don't think we did that. Against Brighton, we set up to play to the strengths of our own team and to United. And it bloody worked. And then we made a mistake. And then second half, we went in on ourselves a little bit, but we won 4-2. Everton, I think, falls into that game. It falls into that same territory. I don't think we need to approach that Everton game thinking about Everton first. Ooh, what weaknesses can we expect? No, sod that. We go into that Everton game thinking, what are our strengths? What do we do best? Let's play towards us. Of course, you're going to have to stop Grealish and stop Ndiaye. They've got some dangerous players. Naturally, you're going to have some tactics in that sense. But some games, you'll go in thinking about the opposition first and a game plan to A, expose their weaknesses, or B, nullify their strengths. And other times, and this is where we want to see Man United more, we go in thinking about United first. We're the big team. We don't need to look at what we don't need to create our game plan around what the opposition is going to do. Sod that. We create our game plan around us because we're the better team. Yeah, Clinton, I agree with that, saying not one particular change has led us to this. No, I think it's just been small. It's been small little things, and it's been, I suppose, a little bit, for sure, better player execution. It's been part of it. Our conversion rate, I don't know what our conversion rate has been in the last 5 games or so, but I guarantee you it's a lot better than the 5 that followed, the 5 that preceded it. That's part of it. But also, tweaks and approaches too. Now, the academy. I would say the academy's a little bit of a confusing one, I suppose, because I would honestly say in the last couple of years have been some of the most impressive in recent times in terms of the quality of the players that we've got in and around our younger teams. Obviously, the work that Adam Lawrence did in particular for a couple of years was massively impressive. Won the treble. And there are so many players, quality players, inside that academy system. However, right now, if you're looking at the ones that are bursting through into the first team, there's a little bit of a, what do they call it, disparity? No, maybe not a disparity, but a gap. Right? Now, I haven't had the chance to listen to this fully yet, but this is the latest Inside Carrington. Remember when we covered the Jason Wilcox one a couple of weeks ago in a lot of detail? I don't think I'll cover this one in as much detail. But this is Stephen Torpey, our new academy director. He was brought in because Nick Cox went to Everton. I'm supposed Nick Cox will be back at Old Trafford. He's their new technical director. But Stephen Torpey was brought in, okay? And just want to run through this little clip of what he had to say and just have a little conversation about the academy.
Ultimately, as an academy as well, we're here to service the first team's performance whilst also trying to balance off the development of those young players. But we have to create opportunities for these young people to be seen and to be exposed. You know, I'm a big believer in 3 things. You know, our job as the academy as staff is to improve performance daily. So performance is one of them, but we've got to improve it. The second thing would be potential, and understanding the potential of the player, and then creating opportunities. So if you put all those 3 things in a player or a young person in our care gets exposure to all 3 things, then we've got the best chance of them developing.
So I think when it comes to like the academy, as I said, the academy right now, Stephen Torpey was talking about potential, performance, and then pathways. The 3 Ps, if you want to call them that. This is what, one sec. Notifications coming on here. You can't get the staff these days. Should have turned them off. His name's Steve Torpey, Josh, right? He's mentioning here about trying to avoid token senior calls. And I don't think that's a coincidence that he's saying that after this. So this was United's team against Spurs. You can see down there, Jack Fletcher on the bench. It was the first time that he's been in a matchday squad. And he was the only academy player that we had in the matchday squad. And if he wasn't there, because of course Kobbie Mainoo got injured, so he was left out, that would have been the first time since 1937. Think about how bloody old days. Was it 88 years? Since Manchester United have had an academy player in our matchday squad. So, while I feel Man United's academy right now there's so much quality in there. One sec. It's like someone down there saying, who is it? Where's the chat gone? Albano saying, Sam, we need to accept that Amorim doesn't give the youth a chance. That's what I don't like in him. Dude, like, really? What I would say about Amorim is, like, with Cobby, that's like a system problem because Cobby doesn't fit into a midfield 2. He just doesn't really. You put Cobby into a midfield 3, boy, so much better. Put him into a midfield 2 where you have to cover so much ground. It's a bit of a weakness of his game. He's not that strong an athlete. I think that's kind of what I feel like. The gap is too big. Like Amorim here speaking about what he sees as like 4 fundamentals. And like Alex, you're saying the quality's there until Amorim starts trusting them more. I always get torn between these because, like, if you're looking at academy players now, like you could pathways. Where do pathways exist in Manchester United's team right now? Šeško's injured, so there's a pathway up front. You could say that Gabriel Biancheri could come in. Aiden Heaven, for example, came into the squad last season, and now Luke Shaw has started 11 out of 11. And Lisandro Martinez is about to be back. So Aiden Heaven's chances this season, well, he's not really going to get much. I think this for me is it. Because it's that blend between wanting a youth team to flourish, wanting academy players to flourish, but the environment of Manchester United not... It's that gap, man. It is that gap between the academy team. Does it exist at other clubs? Not as much because they're not Man United. They have the ability to bring players through in a less scrutinised environment. It's why I'm so happy about the loan spells. That everybody was speaking about Harry Mass being in the first team squad this season. Like the kid's 18. 18. It's just that because younger players are breaking through into first team environments more often now, it feels like a one size fits all. Like Lamine Yamal gets used as an example by, you're talking about a complete and utter anomaly there. Someone talking about why Jacob Devaney hasn't got more opportunities. One person I've always been confused about is James Scanlon. Don't know why he's not really got a chance. Johnny, you're saying if we go and sell Manu and then bring in Gallagher, I think I'll be done with football. Yeah, I think I might join you on that one. If we do bring in Gallagher, we'd only want to do it on loan. I still feel like that's the succession plan of the football club. Is Bruno leaving and Cobby coming through. But I think it's just... While I'm happy with a lot of what the academy is and how the academy is developed, I don't think there's these last few years of like, what players have really broken through and stayed in the first team environment? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. Cobby's obviously one of them. You can say Garnacho as well. That's another one. Aiden Heaven coming through. I wouldn't say he's really stuck around that much. Cheeto came in last season when we really needed some options up front, but Cheeto's gone back into the under-21s environment. Rashford, you're going way too far back there, Siraj. Rashford was 2015, dude, when he came through. Yeah. Stephen Torpey's got a job on his hands. I think it's kind of the point I'm trying to make here. While United's academy is really strong right now with all the players that we've got, like the Fletcher twins and Lacey and Mantato and Biancheri and Chido Obi, and there's lots and lots of talent. Fredrickson is another one you could break, but I never really, I don't mean that's in a disrespectful way to Fredrickson, but I just looked at him and didn't think that I saw a long-term future Manchester United player. Maybe I was wrong in that sense. Hector saying is Aiden Haven really from our academy? Well, we signed him from Arsenal's academy. So in that sense, no, he's not somebody who's come through the ranks like Rashford did from being a young kid, or Cobby did from being a young kid. United have somehow got to get better at bridging that gap between a ridiculously talented under-18s roster and being ready and capable of playing for Manchester United in 2025. I don't think that can really be done internally, largely. It's why Johnny Evans has got such a damn important job. And it's always that trade-off between giving youth players a chance. And I said this I think I said this on the pod. I was like, first impressions really go a long, long way for youth team players. If any academy player was to get his chance and get his opportunity and just simply didn't perform, then every single fan that was calling for that player to come into United's first team will then be like, hey, he's not ready. He's got to go out on loan. And that's it. Their minds will be made up on that player. He's got to go out on loan. So that's what I mean. It's a trade-off between giving players opportunities and then maybe waiting until it is the right time to give them the opportunity. And I don't know when that right time would exist. Someone down here. Yeah, Camerson. You mentioned Camerson last season. Giggly saying we were blessed to watch the Class of 92. It will never happen again. It will never happen again. You're talking about... I mean, it literally won't happen again. 4, 5 academy players all coming through in the same group into the first team, and between them play for the football club for over like 50 odd years and thousands of appearances, and we're all part of title winning teams and key parts of it. It's never going to happen. Mike saying, does Salford take some of our academy players and actually play them in the first team? I don't know many that have gone to Salford. I don't think so. Yeah, not having the League Cup has definitely hurt opportunities this season. But this is from training yesterday. See Shay Lacey down there in the bottom left with a group of academy lads. I don't know everybody, if I'm being completely honest. Xerxes Martinez. We'll find out what happens. As much belief as I've got in the players that we've got inside our academy, and I do have belief, I don't currently see how many of them come into this first team environment and flourish. Shay Lacey strikes me as maybe a different one. Maybe JJ Gabriel in a couple of years. Remember, he's only 14, 15. I think he's just turned 15. Likely that I mean, as it stands, the pathway that JJ Gabriel's on, he's probably going to be the youngest ever debutant for United. Just because of what he's doing at the age of 15 with the under-18s this season. It's not that I think he's going to make his debut this season, but next season, you might see him in a matchday squad. Steve saying the whole management team needs to stick to a plan. The first team manager should have the last say. I mean, Ruben Amorim should be involved, but no, it should basically be this man. He's the academy director. You direct the academy. Someone down there, Wizzo, saying, look at Garnacho. There was nobody in the team to correct and learn and teach Garnacho. Well, who do you have to learn from? He had a despondent Rashford, who is absolutely flourishing now that he's left United and he can breathe a sigh of relief and it's a new environment. So, Kel's surprised at Rashford's top assists in Europe. I never once thought that Rashford was completely done as a player, but I knew that Rashford was done as a United player. The environment was not the place where he was ever going to flourish again. And Garnacho, could he have done with someone like Mbeumo or Cunha to learn from? Yeah, you're damn right he could have. And that's kind of something I do feel. And that's probably why I've mentioned Shay Lacey, and I probably will continue to mention Shay Lacey. The first team environment is a bit better for him to come into now because you've got Cunha. You've got Mbeumo. Šeško's a little bit, he's kind of young, so not in that sense. But you've actually got players who play in the positions that he occupies that he can learn from. All the pressure's not on him. Even when he comes on and makes his appearance, It won't be like United are down and out like we were with Cheeto last season and we need him to come in and score goals. Like, bloody hell, man. I've only just, you know what I mean? I feel like that's a better environment. I know I'm waffling a lot. But the academy is, like, you talk about the identity of Man United and, like, attack, and 4-4-2 and this and that. Mate, this is the academy. This is the identity. This is the heartbeat of United. This is something that our football club has always done differently from the very beginning compared to all other teams. And other teams followed. United were the trailblazers when it came to how important an academy could be to your football club. And that's something I hope we never lose, but we very nearly bloody did against Spurs, which is exactly why Stephen Torpey is saying, look, we don't want token senior calls, because that's exactly what the Jack Fletcher one was. No, and I don't mean that in an offensive way to Jack Fletcher. But if Kobe Mainoo was fit, he would never have got the chance anyway. How's Jack Morehouse getting on loan? I haven't actually looked at how he's getting on at Leyton Orient. Anyway, we'll move on. It's just good to have a chat about the academy. Yeah, Samuel Luckhurst there is sort of saying, you know, when Jim Ratcliffe was saying that the academy standards are slipped, apparently he was talking about the facilities instead of the actual academy. Don't know. Walty saying the first team has to be stable enough to give chances for the youth. And I don't know how many, we've all said this before. There is no way that Giggs, Beckham, Scholes and Butt, there's no way that they come through that, and the Neville brothers that come through the academy system. There's no way that they succeed if they don't look up and see Cantona and Bruce and Keane and Pallister. There's no way. But they had that environment. They had Fergie. They had the structure above them that allowed them to flourish. Of course, United were actually doing better at the time. Anyway, let's move on. Blend academy graduates with good signings. Look, Adeyemi was I don't know where the whiffy news came from, but it was particularly whiffy news. He was getting linked with us. Now, this is just Fabrizio speaking about, we don't need to listen to what he said because it's a little bit of waffle, but he's effectively saying this, that Adeyemi, United aren't looking at him, but United are looking at signing, his words, a winger, number 10, someone who can be electric, skillful, talented, and fast. Which might come as a little bit of a surprise. But maybe that's why United could be linked with Semenyo. Maybe why United are looking at Semenyo. Maybe United do still want more. Could we do with more depth in our attacking options? Yeah, I think we probably could. Do I think it's next on our list? No, I don't think so. Now, somebody's mentioning that down there, which I think is a good point. I want to go back to that on the academy. I was talking about how United used to put academy players on when, with 3 goals or 4 goals up. And we did exactly that against Brighton, by the way. We were 3-0 up when Heaven came on and made his season debut. And then Dorgu came on and we made some changes. Then we conceded 1. Then we conceded 2. And we retreated. There's certain environments that we don't have now where academy players could get not a free pass, but a less pressured exposure to first team football. United aren't 3-0 up in many games anymore, certainly not at home. Did it, but right. But Semenyo, I already did the full story on him. I don't think we need to really go back into it, but I'm kind of surprised. I don't know whether, let's see if Fabrizio is correct or not, but apparently we're still looking out for wingers, for number 10s, for attackers that all fall into, I suppose, those multifunctional players. Someone who can play left, somebody who can play a bit more central. We'll see. Carl, you're saying the shift to a more physical league has made it more difficult for academy players to break through? I think that's probably a little bit fair as well. Probably a little bit fair. Now, I want to ask you here. Who do you think our top 3 goal scorers are this season? Spoiler alert, number 1's Brian Mbeumo. You're not having that one. But who do you think are our top 3? Clinton is saying Semenyo is more of a market opportunity. It's mad that you can call a £65 million player a market opportunity, but I kind of think he is. Because he's Premier League established, he's proven, he's right on the edge of... Not right on the edge, but I think in the right club environment, over the next year or so, he'll turn into a world-class player. That's the quality that you're buying with Semenyo. Del and Steph, you are correct. Casemiro's in that top 3. And someone else, you've got it as well. Bruno. This is our list. And Mbeumo's up top. Bruno's second. Casemiro's third. You've got Šeško, Maguire, and Ahmad. You've got own goal coming in there with 2. Go on, own goal. But top 3 are Mbeumo, Bruno, and Casemiro. Our central midfield. Bruno Fernandes. Need to work on your spelling there, lads. I suppose it's good to see a spread of goals. And I don't particularly think goal scoring has been a problem for United this season. Keeping clean sheets. Now, that has been a problem. But yeah, and Mbeumo's flying up there with 7. He's definitely worth more than the money we pay for him, isn't he? Johnny's saying Bruno doesn't have 5. Oh, maybe I need to go and have a look at that list then. All competitions, not just a league, by the way. Maybe I'm wrong on that one. Either way, I think my lunchtime video today, what I'd like to do is speak about the upcoming fixtures that we've got. And we mentioned this in the pod. Like, if you look at the... Actually, no, yeah, you're right. Sorry, that's goal contributions, not just goals. That's why I was wrong. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What I want to do in the lunchtime video today is speak about maybe the next 5 fixtures, maybe the next 10 fixtures. Like, there's been different points this season where we've spoken about, oh, United typically fall at this hurdle. And then we've kind of pushed through it. And then, well, we haven't won 2 games in a spin. We won 2. Then we won 3. Then we're undefeated in 5. We won at Anfield. We've knocked down a few tests in a good sense. But this set of fixtures that we're coming up to now, this is where United have always fumbled. On paper, a set of easier fixtures where you would expect United to do well, rather than games we think underdogs here or blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to do a lunchtime video on that today because I want to save the starting 11 for Saturday. And yeah, I think you're right, actually. This is goal contributions rather than just goals. But it does go to show how important, as bad as our central midfield is on comparison to those who are running for the title right now, and it is in comparison, they're certainly coming up with some goal contributions. Get Bruno close to that bloody goal, man. John, you think Everton's going to be a low-scoring game? Well, already gave my prediction on the pod. I think, that's what I really wanted at Spurs. It's kind of what was so annoying the last 10, 15 minutes of the game. Yeah. Right. Dylan, I genuinely believe with a competent manager, we would challenge for the league with 1 game a week. I don't think any United fan was ever considering that this season we were going to be competing for the league. We finished 15th last season, dude. We lost the Europa final. This season wasn't about challenging for the title. But I tell you what, there really is an opportunity for this season to be significantly better than any of us expected it to be. I think the top 2's on lock. It'll be City and Arsenal. I don't know which way around. You know full well that Guardiola's team are going to do some nutty win 13 games in a row after they lose to United. That's what they always do. Between like February and April, they always do that. If Arsenal wobble, City will take advantage of it. But outside that top 2, every place is up for grabs. And I think these next 10 games will be quite defining. Of course, the next 10 games will be defining in its sound. It's nearly a quarter of the season. But this is where genuine momentum has to come. There's no breaks anymore. There's no international break coming up in 4 games' time. We'll see. I'll talk about it in the lunchtime video. But I wanted to have a conversation about the academy today because I feel like it's just in that tricky position where there's obviously so much quality in the academy. And it's not just about pathways, but it's about the right time to give the opportunities and who to give them to. I think the club's kind of struggling in that sense. Can I just say thank you one more time to Andre for gifting 50, man, because that is incredible. Can all of you please go into the Discord? Alex and Maddie are doing great stuff over there. Got some new roles for the members. Going to be bringing in new quizzes with more giveaways, some trivia. What I really want to bring to the Discord, need to figure out how to do this, is like a leaderboard so that every week if we do like a quiz or a trivia, your points get added to the leaderboard. And at the end of the month, then whoever's on top of the leaderboard can get a big prize. That's what I'd like to do. Really fun, engaging stuff. I went back through, I was looking through all my like community stuff. And I remember the work I was doing on creating a loyalty point system for the live show. I might look back into that. I think you can, like on Twitch, I think you already have that kind of built in. But I wanted to get it so that if you tuned in every single day, you automatically earn some points. Didn't have to do anything. Like if you commented, you got a couple of points. If you tuned in 5 days in a row, you got extra points. And then that goes to a leaderboard on a website that everybody can see. And it's the United People's TV community leaderboard. And then it rewards those really active members of the community. And I suppose encourages others to go, well, I want to be top. Let's get involved. Let's do some quizzes. Let's share some stuff. But to create that sort of thing from the ground up was way bigger than I realized. Way, way bigger. So I didn't quite finish it. It's a shame that YouTube don't have that, though. It'd be awesome, wouldn't it? So maybe I'll look back into that. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in today. I will see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Map day. It's Friday. Lunchtime. As I said, I'm probably going to do it on the next 10 fixtures coming up. But yeah, the international break is nearly over. We nearly made it, people. All right? Take it easy.